It's about how you make your money that matters, not how much money you make.
Long story short, I have an uncle who I found out is the exact type of nigga that I would criticize on my channel. Like, he owns like 75 houses. He took them all from old black grandmas and sold them to white people. It's just like really just kind of like, oh, this is like hyper capitalist as hell. And I didn't know this is in my blood like that. And he don't got no kids. He's like, yeah, I'm gonna leave you all my house. I'm like,
because that's the thing that we've talked about and have not had a good, because I feel like I haven't gotten a good answer, and I would love to get more clarity. I don't think it'll happen all in one conversation, but I feel like there's this undercurrent of, fuck capitalism, but I've never fully got a good grasp of what some people mean when they say that, because
people mean different things.
People mean different things.
Yeah.
And they're not talking about anti-private property, because it's like, it'll be people who are like, fuck capitalism, but it's like, but you so, exactly. So I'm like, what are we all talking about? Because some people are like, you're saying fuck capitalism, but you own your home and you do have private property, and maybe you make a lot of money. You're not a billionaire, but maybe you're a millionaire, and you're still saying fuck capitalism. So I'm like, what are we talking about? So maybe let me reduce the question down. What do you mean?
So for me, you have like anarchists, shout out to Andrewism, who don't believe in private property. George Jackson, really influential black leftist, didn't believe in private property. So there's like a lot of that there, right? And then there's, more moderate, more socialist, communist leaning people who like private property and all these things are not going to go anywhere. And you can't really have an organized, civilized society without some hierarchical like forces. We just got to make sure those forces are not easily subsumed into capitalistic interests, which is like, I don't know if y'all talked about Luigi yet.
Oh, yeah.
Like that. 100%. That's like, late capital. The healthcare system in America is like a perfect distillation.
What's being called late stage capitalism.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
So there's a lot of there. For me in particular, I do believe that being a landlord should not be a job. Like, I don't think you should be able to make money off of owning places where people have to live, right? Housing and things like that should be a human right. And there should be systems in which we could figure it out. I don't know the perfect system, but when I see like landlord influencers, like watch me, like Mr. B style, watch me go evict 3 people this week, like that shit is wild. Real quick, and then the family member I'm talking about, like I witnessed the conversation of him talking to like real estate lawyers about how he's going to get this family that just lost their mother to sell their house to him so he could sell it to them. And it was just scummy. It was so scummy.
You can just see the evil in it.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? And so like basically for me, it gets to like, where's the exploitation stemming from? And so if I can point a very simple straight line to the exploitation, I don't really want no parts of it. I don't think no exploitation is possible in any type of organized society. I'm not an anarchist, although I'm empathetic and like I understand why I didn't have a good view of anarchism some years ago, but I've had people educate me really well and I get it.
Okay.
But yeah, so when people talk about capitalism in public and online, they could be talking about a bunch of shit, like people mad at me for, having a house. People mad at Hasan for having a house, and low key, my house and Hasan's house are on the same level. He just lives in California. Like Hasan do not live in a big, ridiculous mansion,
Well, that's what I'm trying to figure out. So, okay.
How are niggas mad about a man having a house?
Well, because there is the Champaign Socialist thing, right? Which is if you talk this left-wing shit a lot, it does look away if you're living in like extensive luxury.
It look a little crazy. It look a little crazy.
I wasn't mad about her. When Hasan bought the house, I was first off brand new. I didn't know who Hasan was, and I was like, whatever. When he bought the Porsche like a year later, I was like, Hasan, you is kind of testing niggas' limits.
Okay, first of all, I leased it. Okay. But
what is the limit? Because we've talked about this before. We had a topic where we were like, is it wrong? Because I'm just trying to take shit to its logical conclusion. I'm trying to take the things that you said and go, okay, well, what happens if we apply that? If I go, hey, look, I've bought my first home.
Extensive luxury, homie slather and peanut butter on a cookie. I mean, that is luxurious. You always said you bought it for some reason. No. I mean, I could. Chat, I could buy a fucking Ferrari if I wanted to. What do you mean? There are content creators who make a lot less money than I do. To be fair, I do take care of my family and also do a lot of charity, but even then, like, it's not a matter of like living within my affordability. I'm not going to say living within my means, because last time I said that, my ESL ass, people yelled at me over that too. When I say living within my means, I mean like things that I can afford. I can afford significantly more. The reason why I leased the Porsche was because it's an EV. Like, it's an EV. It's I mean, it's devalued tremendously. You're still trying to get a 4Runner? Yeah. I am. And I will. Taycan hatches look pretty dope. Better than the sedan. You missed out. There wasn't any. I would have gotten it. Get the Hummer EV when your next lease ends. That should look sick. Oh, I wanted to. I thought about it, but it's not even a fucking meme. I really wanted to. But it's just way too big. The EV Hummer.
Home. And the idea is that this home that I do live in, I'm not buying, 20 different properties, but let's say I buy the first home and I go, this is meant to be an investment, the way all assets are. If I buy gold or if I buy a watch or whatever to help me retire and live life, because that's what we all want to do. We all want to eventually be able to retire. You buy a home and you go, all right, now I want to rent it out so I can live off that income. Is that straight away now we're going into unethical territory, or is there some gray or what?
Like, so the thing
it's like you just your opinion.
Me personally, I never plan on renting to anyone. That's not a family member. Like, I may buy a second home to hold for like that, like family should have land type shit. Nigga, somebody on the run. We can put a farm in the backyard.
Yeah.
Like, I may do that one day if I get enough.
Give it down to kids. Yeah.
Give it down to kids, etc. And I think that's really reasonable. I personally can never see myself renting a home to people I don't know for the sake of getting profit from that. However, the reality situation, especially right now, is that like we need motherfuckers that like can give access to homes to regular people, especially in Atlanta. Atlanta has like one of the worst.
I think what's really funny ultimately about this conversation of like, what can you own? What are rich people allowed to own is like not ever a point of contention, nor needs to be an important part of this conversation. Of course, when I used to say this when I was broke, people were like, okay, you're making a lot of sense. When I say it now, motherfuckers look at me and say, oh, you're just saying that because you're rich and you're a cult leader and you want to make sure that as a cult leader that, your sycophantic cult members don't yell at you over it. My point on this is not changed. It's not about how much money you have. I mean, there is obviously an upper limit that I think shows systemic failure, but it's not about how much money you make. It's how you make that money. Because throughout my career success, like, March, for example, has also made a shit ton of money at this point. Like, what are we doing? Is he now also a part of the capitalist class? You must cut off the treatlerism within you. No, I disagree. I think treats, and specifically things that you place value on, no matter what it is, because like everyone has something. Everyone has something that they purchase that they know is stupid. Okay, if you're into fashion, it's maybe a belt, right, or a bag, or shoes. If you're into nerdy shit, it might be Warhammer 40K figurines and all the accompanying accoutrements that you need to purchase that become an incredibly costly endeavor. It can be trading cards or what's the game? Magic the Gathering cards. Right? And it's like everyone has something that they buy that's like stupid. And I don't think that that's a problem. I think that that should exist. I don't have any issue with that whatsoever. As a matter of fact, I think it's a good thing. It's a good thing for control in general. If you have a good government and you don't want people to fucking rise up and throw hands and do riots, having a hobby that might be costly is not necessarily a problem. It's actually a good thing. Socialism has never been about and never will be about living an ascetic lifestyle. All of that is aesthetic. Socialism is supposed to, or socialism, Marxism specifically, identifies all of society, all of history from the perspective of creating the concept of, creating commodities, and what the broad majority of people and their relationship is with that process of commodity creation. It's about how you make your money that matters, not how much money you make. So, what if my hobby is exploiting the working class? Yeah, okay. That's like saying, what if your hobby is like fucking doing crimes? Like actual crimes that hurt people. Like, oh, my hobby is beating orphan children. Okay, well, I guess you can't do that. You know? What about people that spend thousands on tattoos? Exactly. No, that's another one. I've made this argument many times over for years. If you were to reduce it down to a Slavoj Žižek style understanding of the world, all systems of government have mechanisms of control to pacify the broad majority of society, to stop them from rioting. And I think under neoliberalism, one of the greatest pacification, one of the greatest ways of pacifying people is through commodity consumption. And I would much rather have commodity consumption and fun and luxuries be the pacifying impact, play the pacification role, rather than oh my God, Todok is dang, that's crazy, bro. Don't worry, I just hit you. Let's go, bro. Let's go right now. I'll drop this politics shit right now. I'll put the politics in the bag. And how the luxuries are being made, if they require exploitation to be created, then there's something to be said for that thing not existing. Yeah, the irony itself is that a lot of the luxury goods that we talk about ironically have less exploitation overall than a cheap consumer good like a Forever 21 shirt or an H&M shirt. That is the inherent irony. Like, for example, the fucking Taycan is incredibly expensive. It's literally built in a goddamn German factory where the labor union has 50% control over the fucking direction of the company. So ironically enough, many of those luxury goods are literally processed in a way that is like, or created in a way that's even more ethical than fucking fast fashion. But I'm not going to ever discount people for, engaging in that sort of shit as well. I'm not saying that either.